Impetus. Noun. The force or energy with which a body moves. Impetus. The force that makes something happen or happen more quickly. This is the Simpit. I'm your host, Sean Cole, but the real star of today's show are the Wave Italy Impetus pedals. The Impetus are a 3-pedal set that come with their own bass that are not only a work of art, but they're a unique approach to building sim racing pedals. The Impetus pedals are made almost completely of aluminum and have a very nice color scheme, making them some of the most beautiful pedals available to sim racers. Now, if you don't know who Wave Italy are, you need to know that they make some of the finest motion simulators available, and within those simulators are their own in-house pedals and their steering wheel. Their motion sims are super refined, big buck simulators, and so are the parts that go in them. Now, despite these being very high-end simulators and maybe not for everybody, lucky for us, Wave Italy has at least made their pedals and their steering wheel available to us normal sim racers, but they do come at a Formula 1 type price. The Impetus 3-pedal set comes with a brake, a clutch, and a gas pedal, each with its own design and then a custom designed base. The pedal set is highly adjustable and features a heavy-duty load cell on the brake that is capable of up to 100 kilograms of pressure. The entire set goes for €1,500 or about $1,850 here in America. That is very expensive, but then again, just look at these pedals. Now, with that being a lot of money, let's take a deeper look at the pedals, what makes them up, and what makes them so special. Inside of the box, you're going to find an individually mountable clutch, gas, and brake pedal. The kit comes with a grounding wire if needed, an extra or optional elastomer bumper, a USB cable, and a 6-piece steel metal adjustable base along with its hardware. Each pedal of the Impetus pedal set is a work of art. They all share the same base, which is solid and large by comparison to most sim gear, measuring in at 10.5 inches or 267 millimeters long by 2 inches or 50.8 millimeters wide. Each pedal can be individually mounted on the base or any solid structure. On a large pivot point is the pedal arm. It is also anodized aluminum with the typical to racing and very rigid box design. The arms are each large by comparison to most sim gear and stand 10.5 inches or 267 millimeters above the surface they are mounted to. And right there is where the common parts for all the pedals end, and we move into the unique design for each and every pedal, starting off with the clutch, that then has an adjustable red anodized aluminum bar that connects the pedal arm to the red anodized curved cam that mounts to the pedal base at the rear and has a large heavy-duty spring for resistance. On the side, the very large professional rotating sensor or potentiometer, good for 5 million cycles and a resolution of 0.3 degrees. At the hinge point is a rubber-covered pedal stop that is adjustable for the final pedal extension position. To finish off the pedal is a very racy-looking pedal face that is anodized silver aluminum, curved in shape, and has a cut-off lower right corner for rolling your foot off. The pedal face is 4.5 inches or 114 millimeters tall, and 3.25 inches or 82.5 millimeters wide. The gas pedal is very similar and shares the same base, arm, and red anodized adjustable rod. It also has the red anodized aluminum curved mounting arms with the spring, but the arms are a different shape and the spring a different tension. You also have the large heavy-duty potentiometer on the side of the back hinge point. And you'll also find the same large rubber-covered bolt on the bottom for adjusting the end throw of the pedal. In addition to that, the gas pedal has the controller board sitting out in the open, a BU-836 Leo board with an add-on board on top of it. This has an acrylic cover and is where the other pedals plug in along with the USB. The face of the gas pedal is much flatter and much longer, with the face measuring in at 8 inches or 203 millimeters tall and about 2.5 inches or 63.5 millimeters wide. The brake pedal is a little more unique in its design. It does share the same base, the same arm, and hinge points, but instead of the bar or the rod assembly, it has a giant load cell assembly. The assembly is a large aluminum tube in anodized black with red end caps. And inside is the combination of springs, bumper, and elaster bumpers to create the resistance in the pedals, and then, as it compresses under your foot, it engages the load cell. As you can see, the Wave Italy Impetus pedals are made of some very fine parts, and they are absolutely beautiful just to look at. They're beefy, they're bulletproof, and they are pretty awesome. Now, along with the pedals does come with the optional base, which does need to be assembled, but the pedals are individually mountable. So if you download the instructions, you can get the measurements, and you can actually directly mount these to any foot plate, any rig that you want them to. Now in my case, I did want to use the optional base, so let's start off with assembling the base, which starts off with an inventory of its parts. There are 6 pieces of metal and the hardware. Now in those instructions, there is an exploded view. It doesn't tell you how to put it together step by step, and if you look at the picture very carefully, it is pretty simple, but you gotta look at it carefully. Now, with that said, it's not tough to do. But with that said, I did find myself going backwards and forwards a bit until I got the base just right. But the basic assembly is to attach the side rails to the main center base, bolt that to the sides, add the heel plate, and I can tell you that after a few attempts putting it together, I can tell you the best way to do it is to actually do the side rails, then attach the middle point, which puts the center main base and the heel plate along with the sides, and then adjust your heel plate angle and attach the back. Now, the angle of this will affect your angle possibilities on the heel plate, so you kind of want to do them together, but starting in the middle works out just great. As I mentioned, the pedals are all individually mountable and adjustable, and that's true on the optional plate as well. So from there, you can mount each of the pedals in their desired positions via the 3 holes on the bottom of each pedal and the grooves running right to left on the main center base. You can then slide the pedals left and right until you have the desired spacing and tighten down each of the pedals. Each pedal has its own wire, and each of these wires have a particular spot on the Leo board installed to the gas pedal. Using the instructions, we figure the positions and then plug in the gas, the brake, and the clutch, making sure that the plugs are going the correct direction per the instructions. Next is plugging in your USB wire to the controller on the gas pedal board and being ready to plug them into your computer. With the pedals installed on the base, the overall dimensions of this pedal set is rather large and might not fit in all rigs. The base itself is 15 inches or 381 millimeters front to back, and then 14 inches or 356 millimeters wide. From the mounting surface to the top of the tallest pedal, 14 inches or 356 millimeters tall. There are 4 holes on the bottom of the base that will be used to mounting the base to our rig. Those holes are 9 7/8 inches or 249 millimeters front to back and 12.5 inches or 318 millimeters wide. That is also a very big footprint. I had to do a little customization to my rig in order to get them installed. On my R-seat, I removed the upper part of my pedal adapter and then drilled 3 holes to bolt the base right down to my rig. Because of the strength of these pedals, I needed to add a bracket to also hold down the 4th corner that I didn't have the clearance to drill a hole for. This did work out fine for me. At that point, you can plug them into your computer. Windows will automatically recognize, install the drivers, and they'll be up and running. You just need to go to the game controller panel, look up the BU386 board, calibrate your pedals, and now they're ready to be used. So as much as I want to get on track and tell you all about how these worked while racing, I do want to tell you about one of the coolest aspects of the pedals, and that's the fact that the Wave Italy Impetus pedals are like infinitely adjustable. So many things can be tuned in to get them just the way you want for your sim racing needs. So let's go over the adjustments very quickly, then we'll get them out on track. It all starts with the pedal base. It can be adjusted to raise and lower the leading edge or the front of the pedals. This changes the angle of the pedals in the resting position. The higher you mount it, the more reclined the pedals are. The heel plate can also have its angle changed. The pedals can then be adjusted left and right on the base until you are happy with the spacing. Each pedal also has its own adjustments for the best results or feeling. Starting with the gas, you can adjust the resting position by 10 degrees to a more reclined position via the two different mounting positions on the pedal arm. For finer adjustments, you can lengthen or shorten the adjustable rod. Making it shorter will set the pedal backwards. You can also adjust the force or strength of the pedal by adjusting the rear mounting position on the arms. The higher you move it, the stronger the pedal is. Lower is less resistance. And then on top of that, you can adjust the preload by moving the spring stop on the back of the arms to two different positions. And then finally, you have the throw limiter or range limiter adjustment with that lower rubber covered bolt. And then finally, you can move the pedal's face up and down slightly. The brake pedal's resting position can also be changed by 10 degrees with the mounting position on the pedal arm. You can also change the combination of inserts within the load cell assembly. That is what the extra elastomer is for. These changes will change the progression, the overall stiffness, or the power required, and even limit the travel of the pedal's movement. The clutch pedal adjusts very much like the gas pedal. 10 degrees of setback on the front mounting position, with finer adjustments being done on the adjustable rod. Different overall strength or resistance settings can be adjusted by changing the mounting position on the arms, along with the preload on the spring, much like the gas pedal. In the end, there's very little that you can't change or adjust on these pedals to get them just perfect. So with that said, it is time to get down to the most important aspect of this review, and that is, how do these actually do on track, under use, while driving, while racing? How did these pedals really change, or how are they different from any other pedals? On first impression, I can tell you, these are nothing like your everyday run-of-the-mill sim racing pedals. These are special. These are different. They are big, they are stiff, and they have no unnecessary play or wiggle. Your rig or mounting surface had better be strong because these pedals take some major force. The gas pedal is stiffer than I expected, but it's really smooth. And when it hits the end pedal stop, it is firm, but not that metal on metal contact. Very comfortable. The added tension of the pedal might have been harder to push, but it was even more accurate at fine adjustments than a pedal of less pressure. There were no noises, no wiggles, rock solid, and again, very smooth. The brake pedal was also very stiff and took a good amount of pressure to activate. At this point, I can already tell you this is racing gear, not sim gear, and you will want to use driving shoes on these pedals, not your bare feet like typical sim pedals. That adds to the realism for me. This leads to more accuracy, and again, the pedal is very smooth, has zero wiggle, zero flex, or anything but perfection in its movement. Focusing our attention to the clutch, it once again is much stiffer than a standard sim pedal, and when depressed, has a certain springiness to it that resembles a real-life clutch. The cam isn't overly active and really causing that pink point or that release point feeling, but it does seem to pick up momentum and speed the farther you press as the cam engages. Again, it resembles the feeling of a real racing clutch. The pedal's smoothness is something else that you would notice, along with that rigid feeling under your foot. And at the end of the throw, you're once again met with that rubber-covered hard stop. Clearly the end of its throw, but not a metal-on-metal feeling, which is nice. Out of the box, the pedals ran great, and I could have run them just like that forever and been perfectly happy. But with the Impetus pedals being so adjustable, I definitely wanted to tune them in for me or see what I could get out of them, including the fact that I actually wanted to do some heel-toe braking or downshifting, so I needed to make an adjustment to get it just right for my feet for doing that action and general racing as well. With the pedals adjusted, I was a bit more comfortable overall, and I will say these pedals took almost no time at all to get used to. The huge advantage of heavily sprung pedals is that everything you do on them is with intention. There is no accidentally hitting the brake too hard. Quite the opposite. You need to be firm. You need to be deliberate, and the end result is very exact. I found the most delicate of moments to be the best moments with these pedals. What do I mean by that? I mean when threshold braking, I found myself able to press just hard enough to get maximum braking without locking them up very easily. And at that moment of lockup, when it did occur, it was just the slightest release of the foot to have my traction again. This was done much easier than a traditional pedal and took very little time to adjust to. Another delicate moment when braking is trail braking. The ability to reduce braking as we near apex. With the Wave Italy Impetus pedals, trail braking was also more precise and easier to accomplish. Having such a smooth and heavy pedal just makes it so easy for my brain to process the amount I need to press for these light-footed pedals. The same can be said for the gas pedal. It is heavily sprung compared to many other pedals. This can be to your advantage as long as it's not so strong to wear you out. But with its heavy spring and smooth action, it was very easy to roll the gas on coming off of corners. It's not that it takes a lot to get to full throttle, it's just again, not going to happen by accident. I also did a fair amount of heel-toe driving with these pedals despite not being a pro at that skill. With the adjustable pedals in width, starting position and tension, it is very easy to get these set up just how you want them to be for this skill. In every situation that I used these pedals, they came through and were predictable, super accurate, and a pleasure to have under my feet. So if you watched any of my racing videos using these pedals, or if you've been watching this review, then you already know that I really like these pedals a lot, and I'm sure you do as well. But let's just be very clear and break things down with the good, the not so good, and the bottom line, starting off with the good, and that is, man, these are just beautiful pedals. They're pro racing equipment, bulletproof, super accurate, predictable or consistent, very smooth, highly adjustable, individually mountable, plug and play, and come with a rock solid base. And now on to the not so good. And if you've been following along, you can probably already guess what I would normally start off with, but I'm going to start with something else. This open controller I find to be a little annoying. They're super expensive. They require a substantial rig, not made for driving in your socks. Small heel plate could definitely be a little deeper. And the very large base, which could be difficult for some rigs, and no rigs can be pre-drilled for these. And now on to the bottom line. The Wave Italy Impetus pedals are the best looking pedals that I've ever seen, ever tested. But as you've seen and heard, it doesn't end at beauty. They are highly functional and adjustable enough to make anyone looking for high-end pedals happy. And I know they're expensive, and in some way you can look and see where some of the money has gone into some of the parts, very high-end parts making them up, and you're also getting the knowledge that the design, the concept, the parts, it's all worthy of a Formula One design. I could use cliches like you get what you pay for, things like that, but the bottom line is these are extremely expensive pedals. There's no getting around that. But if you are looking for some of the finest equipment, if money is not one of your questions or one of your hurdles or obstacles in sim racing, you're just trying to build the finest rig, or if you're looking for their intended purpose of being in the footbox of a Formula One worthy simulator, then it makes perfect sense. Now, as much as I love these pedals, you know I'm the last person on earth who's going to say that you have to have them in your sim rig. But if you're out there and you're still on standard pedals, you're on a potentiometer-based pedal or a non-load cellar hydraulic pedal, I can tell you with total confidence these will make you faster. But when you're comparing them to other high-end pedals, you're starting to get into that splitting hairs, the differences. You get to a point of diminishing return. Sure, these might be better in a lot of ways, but functionally speaking, I'm not sure they're worth that huge gap in price over some other very fine pedals and even some great deals on the market. But there's no denying the level of appreciation that I'm going to have for a set of pedals that look like this. They are very unique, they're one of a kind, and you're going to be one of the only people in the world to have such a pedal set, but that does come at that premium price. Now, when really trying to compare these to other load cell or high-end pedal sets that you can get, I'm not sure there's a huge difference in the actual performance on track. But I'm going to tell you, in direct comparison, how stylish these are, the amount of adjustability, the durability, the rock-solid build. There are a lot of factors that make these somewhat unique, and maybe a lot of those other pedals can match them on certain levels, but only a handful can match them on every level. And again, I'm going to say these are the most beautiful pedals I've ever seen, so I don't think any pedal set can rival them on that level. Now, one piece of warning that I have to tell all of you out there is these pedals are big and they take a tremendous amount of force. The footprint is large, they might not fit in any rig, and a lot of rigs are going to need some special reinforcement just to accommodate the force that these deliver. That's not a bad thing, it's just something you have to take into consideration. Even my R-Seat RS1, which I consider to be rather robust, had a little bit of flex under heavy braking. So it really has been a pleasure to test these pedals, and I have to tell you, they're even nicer than I imagined, because I had tested these sight unseen but very felt. They're in a F1 cockpit and I got to use them, but I couldn't see them. So when they got here, it even blew my mind even more when the looks matched the performance. And I think if you're out there and you're building the ultimate sim rig and money is no option, then these definitely have to be on your list of contenders as far as consideration for going into that type of rig. Now, Wave Italy sells these, the 3-pedal Impetus set, for €1,500. They also sell a 2-pedal set without the bass for €1,300 and the clutch on its own for €450, along with a sim wheel that is soon to be released and their full-blown racing sims that you can check out for yourself at waveitaly.com. I hope you've enjoyed this review, and I also hope that I've answered any questions you might have about such a high-end set of pedals. And if you're out there and you're building the ultimate sim rig, I hope I told you everything you need to know about the Wave Italy Impetus pedals. This is the Simpit. I'm Sean Cole, and I'll see you on the track.